everyone. My name is Cecilia Meme. Welcome to today's program on justice, a lawyer's hangout where lawyers dissect legal issues with intent to create awareness, educate, and enlighten the public. Joining me on today's program are two lawyers in the legal profession, in the person of Toma Fortune and Munirat Adama. Welcome to today's program. Today we'll be discussing the offense of Naira mutilation from a legal perspective. Munirat Adama, what is Naira mutilation? What does the popular word Naira mutilation means?
Naira mutilation, simply put, is just tampering with the Naira note, coin, Naira note, and tampering with it means spraying it, matching it, trading with it, or hawking it. Any of those actions will lead to you tampering with the Naira.
Okay, when you say tampering with the Naira notes, what actions can amount to Naira mutilation in a layman language?
In a layman language, simply don't like during occasions, ceremony, Nigerians were so used to spraying money to show yourself and all that. That is Naira mutilation. Okay, not just that, even squeezing it. You are going in your normal commercial car, the driver will give you Naira and you just squeeze it in your hand. That's Naira mutilation. Spraying it, Naira mutilation, matching it, mutilation, hawking it. People exchange, for example, old notes for new mint notes. That's mutilation.
That's Naira
Yes, hawking it.
mutilation.
Yes,
Okay.
trading with it.
Okay. For the purpose of emphasis, Naira mutilation means when you go for events, when you go for parties, and you are spraying the Naira notes, you are matching the Naira notes,
Exactly.
you are selling or trading the Naira notes, you are stepping on the Naira notes.
Exactly.
It is legally called Naira mutilation.
That's to say that the contemporary Nigerian ceremony, whether wedding, naming, whatever, is the hub for Naira mutilation.
Okay. This brings me to Fortune. Is there a law that prescribes Naira mutilation as an offense in Nigeria?
Of course. Okay. Thank you very much for the question, first of all. So generally, as is with all offenses or crimes, there has to be a legal regime that creates the offense. And in this case, the CBN Act is the renowned legal regime. I think particularly
That's
Section
the
21
Central Bank of Nigeria
Act, yes, of 2007 is the act that penalizes Naira mutilation. And it's interesting because you see, I mentioned it as the CBN Act of 2007.
Yeah.
It's been several years, and I think it goes to say that some provisions of some of these laws, that have not been enforced, there's an attempt to see to enforcing them. So yes, Section 21 is of the CBN Act, the Central Bank of Nigerian Act, is the act that penalizes the offense of mutilating the Naira or physically abusing the Naira in whatever shape or form.
Okay, this brings me to the next question. Are there any consequences if someone is found guilty of Naira mutilation? If you are found guilty of spraying the Naira, is there any punishment that awaits anyone out there that is found guilty of such offense?
Yes, of course. And they are very popular cases, interestingly, because when you talk about something like spraying the Naira, is what the average Nigerian who is able to would easily say he's guilty of. You understand? So, but there have been popular cases. The most popular was the one of Idris Okuneye, the Vishimil, yes, the Bobrisky, yes, that the EFCC, took to the Federal High Court in Lagos, for abusing the Naira. According to the EFCC, they had several pockets of evidence, pieces of videos that showed him spraying the Naira, which was abuse. So in taking him to court, on finding him guilty, the court reverted to the provisions of the law, which is also the CBN Act, that prescribes punishment of either 6 months or a fine of 50,000 naira. Of course, the court has that discretion to decide whether it's either or both or what have you.
Okay, now this for the sake of emphasis, the consequences are either you're going to prison for 6 months,
Yes.
or you're paying a fine of not less than 50,000 naira. which is also at the discretion of court. Okay, this brings me to the next question. What is the position of the law and the attitude of the court towards it? Contrasting the popular case of Bobrisky, that is his nickname. And then we also have the other case that has to do with Cubana Chief Priest. That's also his nickname. What is the attitude of the court? Because in one case, I think one of these parties was actually sentenced to prison, which is served his prison terms. In the other case, the person did not get any imprisonment,
Yes.
which also gave a lot of public outcry as to why is the court behaving differently in this particular case and in this other case. So what's the attitude of the court towards Naira mutilation offenses?
You know that it's the norms for Nigerian to like blow things out of proportion when they do not know the law that's in place for it. So now the difference is in the case of Bobrisky, he pleaded guilty and he was he was imprisoned for it. But in the case, that's just one aspect of the punishment. You know, it's not just imprisonment that's the only
Yes.
we have. Yes, we have also option for fine, and the option of fine still comes to in the EFCC Act. I think if I'm not mistaken, section 22 or so of the ES Act. Not so sure about it, but there's a section that enables EFCC to settle out of court.
Section 14 sub 2.
14 sub 2, thank you very much, to settle out of court. And that was the option Chief Priest took. And that option is not just by settlement, you are going to pay way above the normal amount we are supposed to pay as a fine. And then 10 million naira was the amount given to Chief Priest. But though people do not see it as a big deal because he has the money. However, they still went further in the judgment. I think my lord sitting at the federal court gave a judgment that apart from the fact that he's going to pay 10 million naira as a settlement fee, he's also going to be posting 2 videos monthly across the social media platforms on sensitization of the Naira mutilation.
Okay, in the case of Bobrisky, it was given 6 months imprisonment without the option of fine. What was our Lord's intent granting that judgment? Because as a first time offender, and also I think one of his lawyers or his lawyers, they actually pleaded with the court that they grant him mercy, being that he has not been guilty of this offense before. But the court was very strict in that case. While in the other case, where we had Cubana Chief Priest pleading not guilty, the court gave him an option of fine. There is also a case of one Simi Gold. She's also a celebrity or something. She was also given 6 months imprisonment with an option of fine of 300,000. And as the norm, if you are given an option, obviously people will always want to take the easier routes and go for the option. So what was different? What made Bobrisky's case to be different? What? Because our courts, when anybody coming to court, they are coming to seek for justice, even if they know that they were wrong in whatever actions that they took. So why did our court decide to met out grievous punishment to one person, and in the other person there was an out of court settlement? Because if that provision of the EFCC Act provides for an option of settlement, why were other parties not aware of such provision to utilize it to their favor?
Do you want to
Okay.
go?
Yeah,
say something?
I can take a swipe. Wait, I mean, okay, let me just take a swipe.
All right, then I was chipping.
Okay, so the first thing is you must know that this thing is not linear. Like there's no straight line that says
Exactly.
there are always individual circumstances in each case that differentiates, the result or the output. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, it is in situations like this we are called to remember that the court is a policy maker, that the courts are also lawmakers, that the judiciary in itself makes laws through the decisions it doles out, from cases that are brought before it. So one may say that, the Bobrisky case being the first, and it was really a trendy case.
Not the first, but the most.
The most popular,
Yeah.
being the first most trendy or most popular. Yes. So one could say nobody's in the mind of the judge, but from from the way the decision was given, it's imprisonment of 6 months and an option of fine. One could say that the courts were inclined or predisposed to setting a deterrent, to making it known that, okay, this is not business as usual. That's on one ambit of it.
That's a good perspective.
That's one ambit of it. And then there are other things that you take into consideration. You mentioned the Obi Kubana, the chief priest case.
Yeah.
I'm not fully aware of the details of the judgment, because I'm just hearing for the first time that he even paid some money. I'm not aware of the full details of the judgment, but one key distinguishing difference, as you had mentioned earlier, was that one pleaded guilty, one did not. So Bobrisky came out pleading guilty and then made a plea of allocutus before judgment. He said that he's a social media influencer, he has over 5 million followers, and that if the courts were gracious to give him the option of, or even let him go a non-custodial punishment, not going to prison, he would use his platform to preach the gospel and the good news of preserving the naira. So, but the courts have that discretion to listen to the plea or not. And I suppose on that scale, on that balance of whether it was more important to set a precedent that will act as a deterrent, or give the non-custodial punishment in hopes that he would go about preaching the gospel of naira preservation. I suppose the court in its wisdom, in its infinite wisdom, decided it was better to set that deterrent. And mind you, the court could have also given him that option of sent him to prison and also mandated him to use his platform to
Also
preach that gospel. Yes, a campaign against abuse of the naira. So
very simply put, to rephrase what he has said, is we must be aware that the court has discretions, total discretions to themselves, apart from even following the lay down rule. And like he said, every matter or every case has its own peculiarity. So it's within discretion of court too. In fact, he has said it all.
Okay, now this brings me to the next question. What power does the EFCC have to prosecute Naira offenses? And are there other agencies that are also empowered to prosecute Naira offenses? Because the one that is more popular, we see EFCC everywhere. But are there other agencies aside the EFCC that can actually prosecute Naira offenses?
Yeah, of course. You asked about what empowers the
Yeah, what powers do they have? The Act empowers them.
yes, the ESS Act especially empowers them, and of course, ICPC would be another agency that
That can also try.
even the Nigerian police force.
Sorry, that we were talking about. It was
ICPC that actually.
yes, not
Even the Nigerian police force they have prosecutorial
most
powers.
respect.
The Nigerian police force can prosecute all crimes in
Okay, so
Nigeria.
any enforcement agency they empower.
Yes, the office of the Attorney General.
Not any the police, ICPC, EFC.
Yeah, the office of the Attorney General can decide to institute the matter before. So
Okay, we'll be going on a short break, and when we're right back, we'll be continuing our conversation on Naira mutilation. Welcome back and back to our conversation. Can it be said that the EFCC is selective in their prosecuting of Naira offenses, that has to do with Naira mutilation?
Most definitely.
Toma, do you have same opinion on that?
Okay, so
Because the reason why I asked that questions, we've seen situations where our celebrities, they are being, like the popular case of Bobrisky, Chief Priest. There's also the case of Simi Gold, I think that's the name. There's also a case that's not popular. That guy is not a celebrity. Stephen Eti Hussein. I think I came across that guy's prosecution as well. But there are also instances where we'll see videos in public circulation whereby it is a party, maybe a politician or something, and you see notes on the floor and all of that, and then nobody is arresting that person for Naira mutilation, but you just be someone, you hear that, oh, this popular person, it makes it making it look like maybe there's a winch hunt or something of that nature.
okay, so the point has to be made that government organizations work within a budget, and once you have to work within a budget, there's only so much you can do. So essentially, I wanted to lay that backdrop because that's what the EFCC,
That's the reason.
that's what the EFCC would say. No, but beyond that,
I don't feel that's the reason.
beyond that, even in regular cases, in other criminal cases, and I'm not here to defend the EFCC, but even in criminal cases, let's say there's 4 criminals, some are accomplices. You have situations where the prosecutor, whether it's the EFCC, the AG's office, the police, can decide to say, okay, one person, we will not prosecute you, but help us rat the others out. So the discretion of prosecution is on the prosecutor. That's the first thing.
I don't feel that.
That's the first thing. Oh, but so that I'm not taken out of context. So that I don't feel that. No, so that I'm not trying to say that there's no politics to it. Of course, we are human beings, and in human endeavors, there tends to be interest overlaying interest, outweighing interest. So, but it's not now in my place to say conclusively that the EFCC is being selective. But it doesn't mean that from what we see, yes, there are cases online. We see videos. I know there was this video.
Even recently, there was this video in circulation about a wedding.
Yes, that's the one I was talking about.
Only if the
In northern wedding.
arrest was made, but the
Came out
and made a
with
publication
arrest or something.
saying that they are still investigating if truly there was spraying of Naira.
Which is my point. And
Because
you should remember that in Obi Kubana's case, in pleading not guilty, one of the defenses that he relied on was that the fact that there's a video he was spraying money doesn't mean it was original Naira. There are a lot of prop Nairas, the ones that are used to act, yes. So that's the point. So that's why you can't call it conclusive.
$3.
yes, that's another trend.
You will.
Yeah, but is that trend actually a good trend? Because now there are 2 things happening now. Some people have still not gotten used to the fact that they shouldn't spray the Naira. Some other persons are utilizing other means, maybe just bundling the Naira and just handing it over to whosoever that they are giving it to. And then you have the categories of persons that are spraying dollar.
And
That is them looking
how do you cheaply say it?
to maneuver the law.
The law.
Yeah. Yes.
If you are one of the
About the
people,
spraying, let's remember that even this we're talking about this flower decoration.
Yes. Yes.
It's even as Naira mutilation. It's even as bad as
yes,
squeezing the Naira in your hand.
Yes, because I remember in 2023, CBN said
Yes.
money bouquet as also a form of Naira abuse.
yes.
So when you actually think that you are beautifying something or roses to give to your partner or someone as a gift, you are abusing the Naira
According to the law.
according to the law.
So
But let's not divert from your question
Yes.
about the EFCC being selected.
being selective, yeah.
Not good. Of course, it's correct in whatever he's saying, but the truth is, you are prosecuting 2 persons. I know for sure, because we are lawyers, we know that now Naira mutilation is not it's against the law. But the ordinary citizens, or let's say the layman, they do not understand this. I've never seen the ESCC, the ICPC, the police do any orientation whatsoever, organize seminar, or even seen it on TV or so at all.
Yeah,
Even we notify
we'll be coming
the general
coming
public
to that. It
of
brings
what
me
amounts to notification.
it brings me to the next question, which I want to ask now. Can we not say that what the law is not frowning at is monetary gifting? You can actually gift money at events or at whatever occasions, but the manner in which that gifting is being made, which leads to the abuse of the naira.
Exactly. Now with the new one, the device is to get like a carton, a basket, or a bag. So when you want to gift any money, you put it respectively in the envelope, or you just place it inside the bag.
Those are for big weddings. Like, all over the country, Naira is being sprayed. If you belong to the cartel of money na water, then you can be dropping dollars, dropping bundles. If you are, there are weddings in this country that they spray 15 Naira notes. It happens. And the truth is it's okay to say that, we should stop abusing the Naira.
Naira.
Personally, I mean, this is a personal opinion. I don't think spraying the Naira is abusing it. Well, I mean, the courts will tell you what the law is. Personally, I don't think spraying the Naira is abusing it, because when they tell you what's the intention,
What the fact when they are spraying it, they are matching.
They are matching it.
yeah, good. That's the point. That's the point. So that's why it's always important to have a preponderance of opinions, because I mean, just give me a new perspective now that matching it is actually
You can actually lead to
defacing the Naira. Yes, is it? But when you now think of the bus driver or the average Nigerian goes through public routes, and you see how they squeeze the money.
Even for men that has wallet.
Are we even going to say that folding the Naira is so when you fold the Naira? Because
yes,
that's
good. And tell me which bus driver, at least I used to enter public transport. Tell me what bus driver doesn't fold money. If I tell me which of us here doesn't, in putting money in our pocket, fold money, even the wallets enable the money to be folded.
For speaking for myself, to the best of my knowledge, I got a wallet because of that, and in a long while I've not folded it.
I'm good for it. I don't even have wallets. But so
that's you being intentional.
Yeah, it's about it. Can every Nigerian be that intentional? So
most of them have not been sensitized about this situation.
Even in sensitization. So now
Do you think that there is a lot of campaign in the public space so educate and enlighten citizens about Naira Mutilation?
Not even
Because it is one thing for you to want to apply the law and prosecute.
Forgive me.
It's another thing creating that enabling environment that makes people to actually understand that I'm not supposed to be doing this.
Okay, forgive me, but it may seem like I'm going off forgive me. I would ask the question: what is the essence of saying that the Naira should not be abused? I mean, the law doesn't exist in isolation. No. Like I'm going somewhere. The law exists. The law exists only to the extent that it is applicable. When you talk about campaigns and awareness and what have you, we recommend it, but then we ask some other questions. What is the intention of this campaign against Naira mutilation? And I don't mean Naira mutilation generally. I mean these little pockets of cases like spraying the Naira, things that the average Nigerian wouldn't have thought of as spraying the Naira or folding the Naira into two. Even the bankers fold the Naira into two sometimes. So what is the essence? And you have to juxtapose that with the costs that may come in running these campaigns.
All right. This Nigeria has
real issues.
This question just from the little insight I got when I was asking the question. They recycle the Naira. So mutilating it, like squeezing it. Sometimes you see some currency, you'll be wondering what happened to this money. Battered, chattered.
Yes.
Sometimes you can't even use it. Sometimes the number has torn from it. But I think that law is put in place to preserve our
No, of course. I even said
for the future purpose, for the lifespan.
okay.
So if they do not have law in place, usually law put people in check. If they don't have law in place, people will not be in check. If you're just saying they don't squeeze the Naira,
That's
well,
right.
there's no circumstance.
That's no consequence, no penalty. That's
but now they know that Pobrisky have gone to prison. Who will want to risk to pay 10 million Naira?
That's true, because even printing new Nairas come at cost.
Of course.
Yeah,
so, but when they maintain it because of
Lifespan,
because of lifespan, then I think it's a very good reason to have such. So, yes.
I think, first of all, we have to collectively commend both the EFCC and all of the other law enforcement agencies that have taken up the gauntlet, taken the bull by the horn to do what is necessary. Because without these cases, even some of us as lawyers may not pay attention. Yes, there are several laws in this country, and Nigeria has a lot of problems. So, first of all, we must commend the FCC, and that is actually the first step, action. So, you see, in going to prosecute a very popular figure, you understand, one that will appeal to both the millennials, the Gen Zs, what's the generation before the millennials?
Baby bloomers.
The ones that are our fathers and our mothers. Yes.
No.
So, prosecuting someone like Bobrisky and actually securing conviction, sending him to jail on something as, trivial in the perception of most Nigerians. Something as trivial as spraying Naira at parties. Prosecuting him was a very good step in the right direction in terms of the awareness, the sensitization. You can see the cascading effects. Imagine, we will likely not be talking about this today if that guy was not convicted. So we have to commend them, but it doesn't stop there. That's why we now have the issues of, let's stop politicizing, let's stop picking what we can and cannot prosecute. Actually, it will be difficult because you can't prosecute everybody. Can you prosecute every Nigerian? You can't. So there has to be that place of discretion.
But don't you think if they are mobile courts, it will make it
You can, no matter what, you just can't. Nigeria has a lot of problems. If you prosecute the driver who is driving down folk, would you prosecute the passenger? The 5 of them who are inside, can you even fund it? You will get to a state of anarchy.
The question
in the country.
You ask, how can it be done? Yes.
So that's why I said, okay. So just take
yes. We commend the SCC for even bringing it out, and then people are aware now. And I think the first point of contact should be universities, secondary school,
beautiful
civil servant. Do you know, almost, let me say, 90% of family, you see one civil servant there. Do you understand? You go to ministries, talk to them.
The marketplaces.
Yes, give them orientation. Marketplaces. At least one person will know. If I come, this is what they told us. This is what they told me in school. This is what they did. Before you know, it goes. Buy airtime on radio stations, popular TV stations. At least even
radio stations. Yeah, because the average Nigerian listens to radio stations.
We have popular radio stations. There's a particular radio station, like when I entered into this commercial, you hear they say every driver is listening to them. You just buy airtime and advertise
to talk about this thing.
About it.
Yeah.
With time, people will get to learn and know about it.
Of course, Rome was not built in a day, but they should also prosecute more of these high-rise individuals.
And without
fear of favor.
Because they are selective from what I'm saying now.
Yes, when you prosecute, you publicize. When you prosecute, you publicize. You prosecute, you publicize. People will learn, if not
because
easy way, they will learn they have
not guilty of Naira Mutilation as we speak.
Thank you for joining me on today's discourse, Toma and
it's a pleasure.
Mirat. And so our viewers out there, remember that it is our collective responsibility to uphold our Naira, to prevent our Naira from further abuse. You never can tell. It may be you tomorrow. EFCC is watching. Government agencies are watching. You can also create awareness by ensuring that the next person beside you at a party is not mutilating our Naira. Also, event hosts at parties, you can also uphold our Naira by, you can announce at during your events that Nairas should not be sprayed on the ground. You can provide different means of gifting your guest or your host rather. Thanks for joining us on today's program. Thanks to our viewers. Munira, do you have any exit recommendations? Fortune, do you have any exit recommendations?
I think you have said it all. It's everybody's collective
more reminder, and of course, part of Naira Mutilation. Do not write on the Naira. I see a lot of people write on the Naira. What's wrong? Yeah.
I remain your lovely host, Cecilia Meme. Thanks for staying with us today till I come your way again. Remember to follow us on all our social media platforms. It's bye for now.